this would be a tree that you could definitely throw an accent light on. Even though it's an evergreen, you can get that light far enough back that you could kind of highlight it, and it kind of complements this side viewing angle. Like I said, if you have kind of the side of the house here lit up, this will be lit from this side, but it'll still kind of give you some side light from here, and then you light this one so that it's kind of from this viewing angle. And again, it's always something to consider is different viewing angles. You have this guy kind of lit from up front, which you're going to get some side light from over here. Hey guys, it's Cal from the Lighting Doctor here. I hope you guys enjoy this video with some more great landscape lighting tips. To learn more about landscape lighting, go and check out our website at lightingdoctor.ca. Or if you want to see what a real quality landscape light should look like, go and check out our Try It Before You Buy It offer, where you can get a premium quality fixture at a discounted rate with your very own battery pack, so you can go and test out how that light's going to look and feel what a real premium quality light should look like. So go and check us out at lightingdoctor.ca, or go watch more videos on YouTube just by searching for the Lighting Doctor. Hey, Fizelle, thanks for your email and for your pictures. Not all of them came through, but I think I got a pretty good idea. You know, I will encourage you to just kind of go look around on our website. We do have some lights that are very similar to yours, the up lights and the path lights. Keep in mind, I mean, these are professional grade products that contractors would use, that you're gonna have in there for 15, 20 years. The whole reason we started our business, and especially our online business, is because we just got so tired of the crap that they were selling at Home Depot and that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to point that out, because obviously, you know, based on this, you can get 6 of these lights for less than you can get one of these, and there's typically a reason for that. Just to put that in perspective, is something you're looking for. If you're looking for a good light, like you kind of mentioned, these are probably your best bang for your buck that you're going to find, just durability wise and lasting for a pretty good price. And something you can actually do too, just so you can tell the difference, is our Try Before You Buy It light. We kind of built on that premise too, where you can buy one of the lights at a discounted rate, you can feel it, you can try it out with this battery pack, and you can see what the difference is between what I'll call a professional grade or a real light, as opposed to kind of the toy lights that they sell at Home Depot and stuff. So with that being said, I'll definitely give you some ideas. I think you probably would be a combination of some up lights, like you said, some path lights. We do have kind of 2 styles that are the most popular, and then probably some wash lights I would throw in there as well. So I think first off, what I would do, and you really got to keep in mind just your viewing angle and stuff. So I'll start with the front of the house. I mean, obviously you got lots of trees and that on the house, so you don't want to light every single one. Otherwise, I mean, you're going to spend $10,000 on lights. But I think if you're smart about it and really focus on some of the key features, you can do a really nice job without blowing your budget. And then you can always add lights on later too. So first thing I would start with, I mean, in this front section, it would be nice to kind of accent these with some up lights. The only thing is, I always get a little nervous putting anything too close to the sidewalk area. But if you wanted to, I mean, I think having one of those up lights that I just showed you, like these guys here, would be a really nice option to just kind of highlight the front of these, and it really just highlights the front walkway area. And then using the path and garden lights. And one thing to keep in mind, depending on what you go with path and garden lights, the more modern ones, these are built better than these. Not that these aren't built good, but these are very thick, very durable. They're contemporary. They fit with a lot of people's I guess design techniques right now, and they're a little bit brighter too, so you can usually use fewer of them than these. But with those ones, you can usually spread them out pretty good. And the best thing to do is if you can stagger them. So if you have these accented, you know, you might throw one of those path and garden lights here, you might throw one over here, and you might throw one over here, and that would probably be all you would need to light this pathway. And you don't need to light every inch, but it would give you a nice balance leading up. And because they're more expensive, you know, I would definitely encourage you to probably try and use less of those and then focus on doing some uplighting. So, you know, if I'm looking at the viewing angle from the front of the house here, I mean, I definitely want to try and get an accent light. You know, probably this one could be a little tricky. You might have to do something like get it on a riser to get it above these hedges. So basically what that is all the lights have a half-inch male thread on the bottom. So a lot of times what we'll do is we'll just go to Home Depot, we'll get like a half-inch piece of threaded pipe with a half-inch coupler, and we'll just screw our light into that, and then we screw that that pipe with the 1/2 inch threads on it into the ground stake, whether it be 6, 8, or 12 inches. You can usually find those, and what that does is it just gets it above the shrubs a little bit, and probably have that here so it's highlighting this bush. This one you don't have to worry about as much, but I would probably try and get one of those accent lights here, and then I would focus on some things a little bit closer to the front of the house, which I will get to. I thought I saw some other pictures of the front. Yeah, so I mean, really what I would start focusing on is like any of the, I can't remember if these are Japanese maple or what these are exactly, but I mean, getting an uplight on these kinds of trees. And if I look back to the front area here, I mean, I think having that highlighted, and then some of these smaller shrubs, you don't have to highlight every one, but this is where that wash light that I talked about comes in handy. It's not as bright as an uplight, a bit of a wider angle. So it's good to kind of fill those dark spots. Whereas here, if I'm looking at this viewing angle, I might throw one kind of in here. I would definitely, because this tree's not as tall, I'd probably try and highlight this one. I'd probably try and highlight one over here. And then I would highlight the stonework on the house that you have with those uplights. And what I like to do is kind of try and get them in between the windows, that it really washes the stonework nicely. And then another idea is actually mounting a light to catch the second story, where you can use the gutter mounts that we have and use that same uplight. You can run your wire right either up inside or behind your downspout across, mount that light here, and then you have a light that's shining up that just gets this second story peak, which is always a nice feature, which most people don't do when it comes to landscape lighting. And just to kind of give you an example of kind of what that looks like and how that can really make it stand out, this is just kind of an example of that. I mean, ideally it'd be nice to have maybe 1 or 2 of those lights mounted up here as well. And then I would definitely want to try and highlight the nice stonework you have here, but I have a feeling that there might be a patio and you might not be able to get lights in there. But if you have a close-up of that, maybe we could see if there's some things we could do. If I kind of move around the house, and mainly what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you some ideas that you can kind of work with from there. But again, this might be an area where you want to kind of highlight these front trees, just to highlight the entry into the garage. Anytime you have some unique plants like this, and that's why I'm always a bigger fan of using more uplights, because you're going to see these, if you uplight these properly, you're going to see these from a distance a lot more than you will having a few path and garden lights, you know, along the driveway or in these beds. So that's why I like doing that. Again, I would really just focus on the larger trees. You know, if you focused on that tree here, along with that same theme on the front of the house, something that's really nice to do. Again, it's like you said, it could be more of an undertaking, but lighting kind of the second story peaks and dormers. They didn't do these top ones here, but they did kind of light these. But using that same gutter mount, I always like trying to light these dormers here, because it just kind of completes the lighting, especially on an area where you're probably not going to be able to get any lights on the bottom here where the garage and the driveway is, but by lighting those peaks creates a really nice viewing angle as well. You know, along this side of the house, again, same thing. I would try and highlight some of these more unique features. This would be a candidate for more of a wash light, and then you have a nice balance of some higher up lighting and some wash lighting. Evergreens are tricky because just the way the branches go, you usually have to get that light far enough out. I usually try and opt out of evergreens unless I have a lot of room and I can get that light kind of out here and have it shining up so that it highlights the tree. I just don't find that it's the greatest effect. So I think if you could highlight these and then maybe have 1 or 2 wash lights that kind of highlight this one from different angles would be nice. And like I said, having those lights up here that kind of highlight these dormers is always a nice effect too. With that same theme of the house here, I mean, I'm a big fan of trying to accent the house a little bit more by having some uplights kind of on the front facade here to light that up, and then just staggering some path lights again, so you don't have to use as many path lights. It's friendlier on the pocketbook, but staggering those path lights in between where you have some accent lighting. So if you have some accent lighting on the front here, you might throw a path light kind of on that side over there, and then another one on the corner. And again, this is something where you could try and light a smaller one like this with a wash light, and then you have a path light over on the other side. So just staggering and spreading those out is a nice option. In an area like this, if this is a really high viewing area that you want to highlight, and again, you can always do this stuff in stages, but this is where I would probably just throw, you know, a series of uplights kind of in here to give you some you know, just some lighting so that you have a nice viewing area and it's not a dark spot out there. Kind of talked about this already. I'm not sure if this is the area I was just looking at or not. But again, just to keep the lights down, I think what I would really do is I would just focus more on some of the unique trees, and I probably wouldn't do the wash lights just yet. When you're doing the install at the fixtures that you're going to bury here, just leave a little extra wire. So if down the road you want to attach some extra lights, then you can definitely do that. But I think if you did that, and same thing as I talked about along the front of the house, I think if you had like a couple accent lights that just highlight the house here. What's nice about that, especially when it's nice and white and you have so many trees, is you get the silhouette of all these against a backlit house. And like, again, you're going to get way more value and way more viewing out of this than you will if you just highlight these little shrubs. So especially when you have a big property, you really want to focus on the bigger stuff because that's the stuff you're going to notice a little bit more. And keep in mind that even when you backlight something like that, you're still going to get the silhouettes of these plants at night looking at it from a distance, which is a nice effect to play with. Yeah, it looks like there's this patio here, so I don't know if you'd be able to accent this. There is some things that we can talk about and do if you have some kind of close-ups of what that looks like. But with the same theme of having kind of those 3 uplights on the stonework on this front section, I would probably do the same over here. This would be a tree that you could definitely throw an accent light on. Even though it's an evergreen, you can get that light far enough back that you could kind of highlight it, and it kind of complements this side viewing angle. Like I said, if you have kind of the side of the house here lit up, this will be lit from this side, but it'll still kind of give you some side light from here, and then you light this one so that it's kind of from this viewing angle. And again, it's always something to consider is different viewing angles. You have this guy kind of lit from up front, which you're going to get some side light from over here. And then I think this is where on some of these shrubs is where maybe you put a wash light and a wash light in here just to highlight these, but you don't need a lot of light. And you could do the same thing over here to balance it. I especially like doing that around any gates or entryways because then it just kind of highlights that that area a little bit better. You know, the same thing, looking out on the property and stuff like this. If this was a project I was doing, I would really focus more on getting my lights in more compact areas as opposed to trying to light everything out here. And I would do it in stages. So like I said, I would really focus on the house and around the house first. So like I said, you know, those path lights kind of in here to highlight this section. I think if you put a uplight on this one, it would be nice. I would have my accent lights on the house here. Keep in mind, you're also going to get some reflective light by doing that down on the pathway, so that you can probably just throw one pathway light in here. But one of the biggest mistakes, and I've done this many times in the past, is you get a big property like this and you want to go and try and highlight every area, and you end up putting fewer lights in. So say, for example, you say, well, I don't want to light up every tree, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to throw one here. And I'm just going to throw one here, and then I'm not going to use quite as many around the house because I want to try and light everything, and then it never quite looks right. Whereas if you can condense those lights more and really do some of those things we talked about around the house, this front entryway, and then a few of these heavily treed areas, you're going to get a way better effect than if you try and do everything. And just keep in mind, you can always add on to your lighting system later. So if there's any advice I give you, I would say that is based on these recommendations, which I know is a lot. It's a lot to think about, but hopefully it gives you some ideas. Think about, you know, stuff around the house first, and really this front section and those side areas with a couple lights. I think if you focus that, you're gonna be a lot happier with the results. And then after that, you can start expanding the lights out into those outline areas, and it doesn't all have to be done at once. And that's how, if this was a project we were installing, definitely how I would look at it. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Let me know if you have any questions, and we can go from there. I wanted to also talk about making your controllers Wi-Fi really cost effectively, and also running multiple zones. There is transformers out there where you can have one transformer that runs, say, a zone for your front and a zone for your back. In all honesty, they're pretty confusing to work, and they get quite expensive, and there's some limitations and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to tell you a real cost-effective way of doing that, especially if you only have, like, say, a front yard and a backyard zone is If it doesn't matter, then just run them all off the same transformer. But if you want to control them separately, front yard, backyard, with simple on-off functions, the best way to do it is just with a simple Wi-Fi timer like this. So this is one we've used for a long time. It's from Wion. It works, it's weatherproof, it's great outdoors. There's literally tons of models out there that you can use. We just use this one because this is what we know, and we haven't had a lot of issues with it. But basically all we've done is we've taken just a standard transformer that all it has is a simple on-off switch inside here that you flick on or off. And to bypass that, instead of putting like a photocell where now, you know, we got to be conscious of where we're putting that transformer so it's not in the shade so our lights don't come on too early, what we've done is two ways you can do this. One is we basically just taken our Wi-Fi timer, we've plugged it into our outlet, and then we've plugged our transformer into there. Sometimes the reason I like doing that is just because when you put these little things inside the box, which I'll show you, the Wi-Fi signal isn't as strong. It's sometimes cause some issues. But if you want to put it inside, it's pretty easy. You'll see the transformers and any of the good ones that you'll buy, not the Malibu or Moonrays or Hampton Bay or any of those garbage ones, but a good solid stainless steel one is going to have a setup like this where you have an on-off switch, and then you've got this little plug in here. And all you basically have to do is take this plug out and you plug your timer into there, and then you plug this back into there, and then all of a sudden that's inside, but this operates as what it would be like a photocell. And all this is, if you had any kind of old timer or photocell, it basically plugs into this kind of thing too. So that's how you make your system a Wi-Fi. And it doesn't matter if you have a smart home system and they make a compatible outdoor outlet, then just use that. If you have you're plugging on a Wi-Fi switch already that's inside the house, well then you don't even need that, because basically you can just plug this in, leave it in the on position, and then you control everything from whatever your smart home system is. And the reason I say that's a cost-effective way is because now if you want to do the front and the back, it's typically going to be cheaper for you just to get two transformers, two smart devices, and have a front and a back zone, as opposed to going and buying one of the programmable zoning ones. And not that I've got one in my house. I get my stuff at cost, so I don't mind paying for it, but I know that a lot of you, and even myself, if I had to pay full price, I might not be paying for that zoning option, because realistically it's not something that we use a whole ton in a much more affordable way. Simple transformer, Wi-Fi timer, and you're set. Mounting your transformer, another question I get all the time. In this case, we've just mounted it straight to the house, straight to the structure. This is a part of the house that nobody really sees. It's well enough hidden. We have our outlet, and it's solid enough. I don't have to worry about drilling through concrete or anything like that. So in this case, we just mounted it directly to the house. Try and keep it about 12 to 18 inches above the ground, just because, not that they put out a lot of heat, but they can put out a little bit of heat, and you just want to keep that, you know, above the ground. But if you don't have that option, or it's your house is concrete, or you don't know what's there and you don't want to be drilling into the house, which I hate drilling into houses unless I know what's there. Usually what we'll do is I'll just go get a nice 4x4 cedar post, because I know it's going to last. I might go to the deck section in my home improvement store and get like a nice little cap for the top of my 4x4 post. I'll dig that in a bit, bury that in, and then I'll just mount my transformer to that. And the reason I like doing that too is because then if you ever decide to move your transformer, you're not having to worry about patch up holes in your house. So a simple 4x4 post is a nice way to go and mount your transformer. It's clean, it's easy, and it just eliminates you having to drill more holes into the side of your house. So how do you select the right size transformer for your project? It's really easy, as long as you're using a good, efficient LED landscape light. Basically what you do is you take all your lights. So I'm going to say, for example, I've got 20 uplights, and they're all 5-watt LED lamps. Now the only thing to keep in mind is that the cheaper the quality of the light, the less you pay for it. There's something called their VA, which is basically their efficiency of the light, which if it says it's a 5-watt bulb, the cheaper quality of the light is, it's actually going to be using closer to 10 watts. Sometimes I've seen as high as double the actual wattage. So you want to be careful. If you're saving money on lights because you're buying something off Amazon or in Home Depot, just be aware you want to definitely size your transformer much bigger. If you're using a good contractor grade or professional light, you allow for maybe 20% extra of that VA. So a 5-watt light might be using 6 watts, maybe 7 watts. So always plan for that. Any of the good lights are going to tell you that. They're going to give you a VA on the box, which is going to tell you what you should actually plan your transformer for. So let's say you're looking at our standard RS uplight was a 4-watt LED bulb, which only uses about 4.2 watts, but let's say it's 5 just to keep math simple. Say we've got 20 of those lights. 20 times 5 is, we have 100 watts. So the only thing we want to do is just make sure we size our transformer a little bit bigger than that, so that we can add on later, and just in case there is any inefficiencies, we have a little bit of room. So we'll usually, you know, size it maybe 20% larger just to be safe. If you know you want to add more later, then just go a little bit bigger than that. But basically that's it. The reason that you still see a lot of 600, 900 watt transformers out there, again, is because there's still a lot of I'll call them old school guys that still install halogen lights, where you needed those bigger transformers because there was just so much wattage with all the lights that are on the system. If you're using a good LED system, I'm going to tell you that you probably don't need anything bigger than 300 watts, because if you're putting that many lights on, you're probably going to be spread out so far that you're going to want another transformer anyways. So we basically carry 2 models. We carry a good stainless steel 150 watt and a good stainless steel 300 watt. That's it. It doesn't matter if you use a 300 watt and you only put a couple lights on it. It's really not going to affect your system that much. You just probably don't need to spend the extra money to do that. But if you wanted to, and future expansion and all that kind of stuff, you definitely can. Anything that's under 100 watts, I'll tell you right now, there's not a lot of good options. There's a lot of econo transformers that we actually used to sell some of them, and not that they were bad, but I know they don't last. We've quit selling anything that we get called out to repair or replace all the time, and that's why there's a very limited number of fixtures and products on our website, because I don't want to sell you guys the garbage that I know is just going to break down. So we're going to give you, you know, the best of the best, the quality that's not going to break your bank account, but that we know is going to last. But basically, in short, that's how you size your transformer. Add up the wattage of all your lights, and then just make sure you size that transformer about 20% higher. The less efficient, the cheaper the light, size it a little bit more. Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed that video presentation with some great tips and tools of how to go and properly and effectively light up your landscape. And be sure, if you want your own free consultation video, just send me an email at cal@lightingdoctor.ca with a few pictures of your property, and we'll get back to you with some really cool ideas and ways to go and effectively light your property. And be sure to watch the videos after this one for more tips on how to install landscape lighting, as well as how to light up your landscape the best way possible.